I'm in a little box today instead of a green screen. This is a layout I use for live streams, and today's discussion is from a live stream. I'm answering questions from viewers about the Mangler, about different updates. It's way more relaxed, way more casual in style, so hopefully you guys enjoy it. And if you'd like to join me for a future discussion, I'm going live tonight on twitch.tv/theshyway at 7:30 Eastern, so hopefully I'll see you there. Until then, enjoy the video. Mangler nerf opinion. I think that they nerfed it in a good way. I think. I don't know. I think that was the biggest issue with the Mangler, was the one-shot beatdown, was the most... Is egregious the right word to use? It's just like the most abusable component of that gun was the one-shot beatdown. It's like I don't hate that. It just, like, something had to be changed, right? Like, either they make it a power weapon, because it clearly had too many advantages to not be, like, a mid-tier power weapon, or they nerf it, and they nerfed it. And I think, like, people have said, okay, why don't you just make it a power weapon? Which I understand. But if they made it a power weapon, then it would have to replace a different power weapon that's already on the map, right? Because where else would you put it? And if that's the case, I wouldn't want it to replace, like, the heat wave or the shotgun. I'd rather just have those power weapons where they are. So that doesn't work. If they reduce its availability, then this is more so an issue with the development side of the game, right? Like, if they want to reduce the availability of the gun, then they would have to tweak just the weapon pad that it's tied to, because they have a whole new weapon pad system now, right? It's not about, like, the weapon... Like, the weapon timer is just set based on the tier of the weapon, and that tier is associated with the weapon pad. Or the wall, whatever it is. Gravity Cross the Fall, thank you. So I don't know, like, what it takes on the development side to make that change, but considering how long it takes to do just about anything, I think, like, what they did was the easiest, most available option to them in the short term, so I can understand. But I do think if they, like, lessened its availability, they could have maybe kept the one-shot beatdown in. In general, though, the one-shot beatdown is, like, it's just cheesy gameplay, kind of, though. Like, come on. Like, I don't know. It is kind of fun in, like, a social game, sure. And I hope that one day we have playlists that can, like, accommodate that, but in competitive, it just, you know, it just didn't really promote good gameplay. Anyway, it's cheesy. It's cheesy. You feel good about it? Mangling around your corner? Oh my god. Like, we already had, the shotgun already does that, the heat wave already does that, and no, do not buff the shotgun. Are you crazy? Anybody who says buff the shotgun, they just want the other shotgun, is what they're saying. Because the old Halo shotgun, I agree, it should come back for, like, infection and stuff. But, like, the current shotgun is perfect for competitive. Do I think the upcoming Mangler nerf will be enough? I like the spot that it's in. I think that it might still get GA'd because of the drop combo, though. But that's not a Mangler issue. Like, that's a drop combo issue, right? Like... I honestly don't mind the idea of, like, I want to see how it plays out with the two-shot beatdown Mangler and just keep everything else in. Just, like, play competitive that way. Like, as prevalent as the drop combo might be, like, I just want to see it play out like that. Because I think it still takes, like, way more skill to hit the drop combo than to, like, one-shot beatdown, right? Like, there's still room for an outplay. Less room than your typical gunfight, but there's still room for an outplay. What people don't think about with the drop combo is you have to, like, the time that you're sacrificing, or that you're, what is it, like, when you drop combo, you're speeding up the time it takes to shoot, but you have to, like, that time you have to take back when you pick up the weapon, if that makes sense. Basically, when you pick up the gun, it takes time to ready the weapon again and shoot. So, really, if you want to, speed that up, then you have to YY again. So, like, the actual process of using the drop combo effectively is, like, dropping the weapon, picking it up, YY, then shoot. Like, that's a lot of buttons in the heat of the moment, you know? If you want to actually, like, drop combo against two people. You got to pay for it later. Yeah, exactly. So, like, the time that you save, you pay for later. That's a way better way to put it. Thank you. So yeah, like, if you're in a 1v1 fight, then hell yeah, you got a huge advantage. But if there's any other person nearby, like, you still have to, like, drop it, pick it up, YY, bam. Or you're just, like, sitting there readying your weapon again, which is a big time waste. And I think it takes, like, some mechanical skill to put all that together and then hit the shot, you know, like, personally. Or maybe they just Y button once and pocket it, use their other gun, like, I don't know. But there's a little bit of risk. The only adjustment I think that would make sense is they make it so that you have to hold the drop every time. The button drop should be slow as holding the weapon. Yeah, so that's the one like balance point where I'm like, okay, that makes sense. Like, but first I would like to see how it plays out with the Mangler the way it is. And then if it does look like super abused, everybody's doing it, then like, yeah, I think, and it probably will be that way. I think holding to drop being mandatory would be the best way to balance it. Because the combo itself, like, is sick. Like, conceptually, like, it makes sense. It's like, badass. Like, the fact that you can drop your weapon, switch faster, a little bit of risk and reward that comes from that. Like, the fact that you have to hold down the button would make it way more skillful, so you'd see it less. And then the impact when somebody hits it would be so much more meaningful. Global 10% melee nerf. Obviously, we know they probably touched every weapon that they impact. Do you think the global nerf was compensated for the Mangler? Do you think that there is more to it? Yeah, so people are upset because they're worried that like every weapon is going to be nerfed now because of that 10% melee, right? That definitely could be the case, but like I assume if there was any like substantial nerf, they would have said something, right? Like if the commando is like, oh, now the commando is a 9-shot beatdown, or whatever it is, like how many shots it takes to beat down kill. Not 9, but like 5, whatever. Then I'm sure the article would have said something, right? Because that's a big deal. Like if the sidekick takes an extra bullet, that's like kind of a big deal, I think. But if it's like the AR, like, yeah, sure, the AR takes like a couple extra bullets or whatever. Like, I don't think people are going to notice it too much. I think melees are, you know, they're strong enough. They just need to be more consistent, right? Compensate for them. Oh, do I think it was to compensate for them? Yeah, maybe it was, Maddie. I don't know. Like, maybe that was, like, the primary reason they I don't know. Or people are, like, upset that the BR, they're, like, worried that it's, like, you know, pros have too much of a say or something because the BR, like, they specifically made it so that that doesn't change, but that's just fair in general. Like, I would... The weird thing is that they said it's for ranked, though, because, like, having to 3-burst beatdown in social for the BR, like that, I don't think that change should be a thing. Like it should be two bursts beatdown everywhere, because it's difficult enough to hit the full 2 bursts in those close quarters moments, you know? Like it didn't need any kind of a nerf. So like that's the only thing where I'm like, okay, if that's the case, then that's weird. They should change that. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, if any other weapon was touched, they would have mentioned it in any substantial way, right? Because that would be some weird. That's like, you don't do that. They're trying to be transparent. Come on. Yeah, I think they said that they recognize the interest in teammate collision, right? Like team collision should absolutely be in the game at the very least in custom games. I don't hate no teammate collision in multiplayer though. I don't hate it because like having played a lot of Halo 5. There's so many situations, especially off starting strats, where like your teammates just bump you and completely ruin your run. Or like you back up into a teammate. Like that shit does happen quite a bit. And especially in this game with the curb slides, like if I bump into my teammate mid-slide, I'm gonna, like that whole rotation is screwed. And there's so many tight spaces in this game. Like there's tight hallways, like recharge, the entire surrounding area. Like any of the slides I hit in that area, I'm likely to bump a teammate once in a while. So yeah, like I don't think, like I don't care too much if it stays the way it is. But for custom games, it needs to be a feature, 100%. It's part of coordinating with the team. I mean, maybe, but like how much of an impact would that really have, right? Like I brought up like a cool hypothetical on that, like back when the game first came out, where, you know, like on streets, on the C spawn on streets, when you spawn up, there's the stalker right above you in the balcony. You have to take like a couple different routes, or really just the one route to get to the stalker. If you had team collision on, then you could team jump very easily to the stalker right off the rip at the start. That would be so easy to do and so accessible that it would become the strat like pretty often, right? Like somebody would just team jump to stalker as a faster route. And as cool as that is that like good though? Would that give somebody access to stalker like even earlier and then like a sight line or like an advantage or something? Like I do kind of miss like the ability to just jump off a teammate's head, you know? But I found that it became much less prevalent in the later Halo games because there's so many other ways to move around. Like in classic Halo, it meant more like nade jumping. You know, nade jumping was a thing because like you didn't have any other option, right? Like, nade jumping in this game is just stupid. Like, straight up. Like, you do not want to be nade jumping. Literally gonna die. Would be game-changing. It would be game-changing. And on one hand, I'm like, it's cool. On the other hand, I'm like, is it too free? You know, I'm trying to play devil's advocate. But yeah, like I said, I think some team jumps would be cool. It'd be sick if you could just have both. Like, I would love to just never have to worry about bumping my teammates, but also be able to jump off their heads. Yeah, I mean, this is a pretty game. Look, I think I've said this a few times. I think the big reason why, like, it's kind of a good thing that we have so many people. It's not. I'm trying to find like the positive note amongst like all the angry, upset people. But the people are so upset because the game has so much potential, right? Because like the gameplay is good and people like it. And in general, people like it more than they've liked the past, like, 3 Halo games. So just the potential for success here. Like, you see Nick Merckx complaining, but the underlying point is it's a shame that there's no BR, because if there was one, this game would literally pop, you know? Like, yeah, that's the biggest complaint, is that we just want more. Like, that's good, honest. I mean, it's not... Our situation is shit, but the underlying factor is... You know, they got the gameplay right to the point where, yeah, we just want more of it. It could be worse. The game, like, people could be like, this game has completely lost its sense of direction. The advanced mobility is out of control. It's not Halo, you know, because that's what it was for like 10 years. Slow it down there, Faven. Yo, I listened to Faven's whole, like, 1-hour video. I actually enjoyed it. I think the community does need to have people like Faven, though, right? Because he does bring up some valid concerns. Like, it's important that 343 is aware of all of these problems, right? Like, they're getting hammered right now, but it kind of has to happen, you know? It's like, I love the people over there, and I think that, you know, a lot of, like, I don't know everybody who develops the game, but the people that I know are genuinely passionate about Halo. Like, they want to see it succeed just as much, if not more, as any of us, right? Like, they are not happy with the situation that this game is in right now. And it's a shame that so many of them are, you know, getting, like, personally attacked unnecessarily. It's, like, not their fault personally, you know? But despite all that, you know, obviously the criticism is so valid, and the company needs to know that, because something needs to change.